All right, so we don't usually talk about basketball on this channel, but the most recent news about Todd Golden seems worth discussing, so we're going to get into it. When the Todd Golden investigation broke a few months ago, I tried to be really careful to say very little until we knew more information. What I did say, however, is that UF, you know, would need to probably get rid of Todd Golden and Scott Strickland if the allegations were true. I did not see a scenario where either one could survive if the allegations were found to be true. I also said that I feel like UF tends to err on the side of caution, so I would be surprised if those allegations ended up being true simply because historically, the UF athletic department, not necessarily Scott Strickland himself, but those that would be doing the investigating do not generally take risks, right? This is something that we have said about our athletic program in regards to NIL, in regards to, any kind of dirty recruiting or tampering, anything like that. The UF athletic department errs on the side of caution. That probably stems from some NCAA violations from the 80s that have made them absolutely on edge. But normally, they are very careful about these things. And the fact that Todd Golden continued to roam the sidelines of the court was a pretty good indicator that UF felt very strongly in Golden's innocence. Well, yesterday, the university closed its investigation into Golden and said that they found no evidence that he violated Title IX. The UAA said the following: "We take these matters seriously and understand the need for the process to be conducted with strict confidentiality and discretion. Throughout this process, Coach Golden has demonstrated tremendous focus and professionalism, and we commend him for that. As the Gators move forward, we reaffirm our commitment to promoting a championship experience with integrity." Okay, so from the university's standpoint, the book is closed. A letter was sent from the coordinator, the Title IX coordinator at UF, to the complainant. And essentially, what it said is that the Title IX coordinator deemed that there was no evidence to indicate that sexual harassment, quote, occurred within a university program or activity. And that is why the school had to dismiss the complaint. The letter also noted that the complaint was initiated after the investigation was initiated after the university received an anonymous report that named multiple potentially impacted persons. Whew. Okay, so we're going to get into that statement a little bit because I definitely have some thoughts. But before we do, I'm going to tell you what Coach Golden's attorney said yesterday. He said, "Coach Golden and I have respected the process throughout while actively engaging with the university. However, there were many who did not respect the investigative process. Instead, they sought to target Coach Golden and drive their agenda and this investigation for their own self-interest. Some leaked confidential material to the media. Some falsely posed as a UF lawyer in an effort to intimidate, harassed UF students and parents to try to generate a false narrative, and harassed my client, his family, and his friends. Coach Golden appreciates the support of his program that he has received from many at the university and from around the country. Now that this is concluded, Coach Golden can continue to focus on the basketball season and consider his legal options in the offseason. But now it's time to move forward." Okay, so let's talk about these three statements, right? What do they mean? One, the statement from the Title IX coordinator basically says that it doesn't necessarily mean that something didn't happen. It means that it didn't happen during a school event or activity, or at the very least, there wasn't any evidence that it did. So this is interesting for a couple of reasons. One, the Title IX investigation, the original complaint had to be that it had something to do with a university activity or event. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been a Title IX investigation, right? So that makes me believe that either that part of the allegations were either completely false or it was something like an invisible message on Instagram, a Snapchat that disappears after 24 hours. And so then it just becomes hearsay because there is no actual proof. So really and truly, Coach Golden could have done something inappropriate outside of a school event or activity, because that's not what this investigation was about at all. That kind of leads me to my second point. Will a civil suit follow? This would be a pretty good indicator of guilt, in my opinion, if Coach Golden doesn't file some sort of civil suit. Now, I understand he may just want this to go away and be done, and I get that. But if I'm him and I was falsely accused of some pretty horrible indiscretions, I would probably be filing a civil suit. I don't even know that I'd wait till the end of the basketball season. I'd probably want to do it immediately, but I understand if maybe he feels like that would detract from what they are doing on the court, and so that can wait for the offseason. But I'm interested to see what happens here, because if I'm him and I am 100% innocent, I'm probably filing a civil suit. Before we go on, I do want to give some love to Meldon Law. We appreciate Meldon Law for all they do to support UF athletics and our channel. As the official injury firm of the Florida Gators, they provide assistance to those hurt or injured in car accidents, slip and fall accidents, workplace accidents, and more. If you're in Gainesville, Ocala, Lake City, or Fort Lauderdale, and you need a free consultation, reach out to Meldon Law and let them take care of you. Another case that is kind of related to this is the Torian Green case. He is still under a Title IX investigation. That announcement came about last week that he was being investigated. It wasn't an official announcement for the university. It was a leaked information to the Alligator, which is exactly what happened in the Todd Golden situation. And I have a real issue with this. These Title IX investigations are supposed to remain silent, right? And that is not just... that's to protect all parties, the accuser and the accused. Think about it from the accuser's standpoint, right? If this investigation is ongoing, could boosters or fans who, want to see Florida play for a national title potentially try to intimidate or bribe the accuser to make them go away or to change their statement or something else? And then for the accused, the amount of heckling, the amount of distraction, and, just an entire false narrative, the damage to your family, to your children who are in school, things like that, is incredibly large. This information was supposed to remain confidential until a decision was reached. So somebody in this process decided to violate that, right? Because the Alligator received reports naming names in both of these situations. And in the Todd Golden case, it appears to be false. Multiple of the names reported in the Alligator are not even in this Title IX report at all. So now those people, when their name is Googled, they're going to have to answer, in a job interview, hey, I Googled your name and you came up and, connected to this. And that person's going to have to say, well, unfortunately, that was a false accusation and I was cleared of anything. But that person shouldn't even have to say that. This is not journalism. It's not journalism to leak confidential information and then kind of poorly report it, right? That's not what our jobs are. I understand that everybody wants information at their fingertips at all times. I know that's the 24/7 news cycle that we live in. I just think it's really detrimental to all parties, right? I don't love the way that it was handled in either of these situations. And it does make me wonder, is there some kind of ulterior motive, right? Both of these situations got leaked. Golden has been cleared. So if Torian Green is cleared in a couple of months, however long this process will take for him, I believe we found out about Golden's in November. But I think it was initiated in September. So, we're probably a few months away from having a conclusion to the Torian Green situation. But if he is also found to be innocent of these accusations, then what? Then we have a student newspaper that has not once but twice been wrong with confidential information, right? That it should never have really seen the light of day until the conclusion anyway. I don't love that. And I don't love that there's an adult editor somewhere that probably should have had better judgment about this. We're better than that as a university, and reporters should be better than that. And we have an obligation to protect both the accused and the accuser until there is some sort of outcome here. Now, like I said, could Todd Golden have done something inappropriate outside of a university activity? He could. And at this point, that's between him and his wife and his family, unless there's some sort of crime that was committed, which I feel like if that was the case, then there probably would have been a criminal investigation, not just a Title IX investigation. And every time this happens, right? Every time there's an accusation that is found to be false, it hurts the people making real accusations and trying to get actual justice for themselves. So this whole situation is just kind of icky to me, right? But I felt like it was worth kind of recapping because Florida is on a heck of a run with their basketball program. This has been a distraction, kind of a dark cloud that hopefully can go away. But I will be watching this offseason to see if there is any sort of, civil suit or anything that will follow. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Let's talk about it down in the comments. This is a sensitive subject, and I want to make sure that we are respectful of everybody's viewpoints on it because there's a lot of factors that go into this. But let's chat about it. As always, thanks for tuning in, and go Gators.